Do you notice life is not the way we want it to be, but it's better? When I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a doctor. And I've had a lot of friends who became doctors. And for the most part, they're not happy, you know? And then my friends in the ministry wanted me to be a minister. And I said, I'd be happy to be a minister if I could just experience the presence of God and know for sure God wanted to be a minister. Oh, that'll be easy, they said. Yeah, sure, you'll find that to be true. So I went on quite a journey till I was able to experience spirit. Had to learn mysticism, and I had an experience. It was really great, but it went away. So then I got into yoga and found what I was looking for. Ended up getting ordained as a minister through yoga, and also became one of those exotic creatures called a guru. What a life. What a life. We're all grateful. Let's face it. I'm grateful to give to you, and I'm grateful for what I've received. It's just fantastic. So thank you for writing some questions. Let's have a look at them. What's the best way to speak truth if the truth hurts others' feelings? Would white lies work in such situations? So there's probably a way to meditate and sense how you can be helpful to this person and loving and speak the truth and have them appreciate it. You just got to be tuned in. So maybe you have to now and then hurt somebody's feelings, but for the most part, you'll find there's probably a way to do it in which people appreciate it. Now and then I have to hurt somebody's feelings, but for the most part, I don't. They're grateful to hear something that's going to help them. So, I mean, like gurus can give people discipline. Mainly, the discipline is helpful and it's uplifting, and there's no big war or conflict. Usually, people want the help. So, I suggest you get into Serenity, sense harmony, and consider, okay, what can I do? But now, it might be that you have to express yourself strongly, but that's the last course, last recourse. Just, you have to do that. They might not like you or want to be near you for a long time because their ego hurts. So, best to be very careful about running around correcting people. Yogananda said it this way: truth is kind. If you can't find a way to speak the truth with kindness, you don't know the whole truth yet. And of course, what happens is these gurus have people near them who want to blast other people. And Yogananda had people who just wanted to blast other people. And Yogananda would say to them, you've tried to do a good thing here. You've tried to make a change. But now you've done something far worse than the problem. You've created this ill will and this pain and this suffering. It's going to go on and on and on. You feel relieved from having spoken from your ego, and you had a partial truth here. But you've just made things much worse. If you just said nothing, it would have been better. So he would say things like that to his people who wanted to blast others. Okay. Have all the curators emphasized the device of spirit and nature? The dance. Curators emphasized the dance of spirit and nature, or was it just more emphasized by Ramakrishna as well as perhaps Chaitanya? Mainly Krishna, Chaitanya, and Ramakrishna. The others don't talk much at all about a dance of creation. That's true. That's very true. Good point. Do you have suggestions for couples to reestablish trust and a sense of security after discord? Wow, that's a good one. Well, I'm thinking of a time when I was married, and Sister Margarita was a nun. And she said, from her training and from the seminars they gave, she was not actively involved in them, but she knew about them, seminars to couples. And she said, you've got to have some signal about a safe place. And for most people, the signal is when one or the other grasps the other's wrists or holds our hands. That's the safe place in which they're taking a break from being unhappy, from criticizing, from trying to emphasize that they're right about something. There's just this safe place. You just grasp. Well, it could be you just hug the person, but the signal that most people used, and that I used many years ago, we would, either person was free to take the other person's hands and grasp the hands or the wrists, and that was safety. That means no matter what we're disagreeing about, no matter how bad we're feeling, we recognize our unity, that we're partners, and this is a safe place, and we're not going to say anything about the argument, and we're going to strive to feel the base of our relationship is love. And we're going to do this till we feel safe, till we feel that the anger and resentment, whatever it is gone for now. So there was this safe thing. Just have a signal between the two of you that you agree on. We're in the safe place. And both parties have to observe safety. They have to agree to this safe zone. And this is just established. Either party can do it. And very often you both mellow up and think it's not important. But if you do, you'll discuss it later with some degree of sanity and harmony. So a safe place is something that's very important to have in the relationship. Just anytime anyone feels unsafe and being hurt, grasp the other person's hands, feel safe. And just, you don't feel safe at first, but you just hold hands and you are just open to feeling safe, letting your partner feel safe and you feel safe. And you enjoy safety. In this safety, maybe you'll hold hands for 10, 15 minutes. You just relax and feel safe. Let the other person feel safe. You want the other person to feel safe underneath it all. You're irritated. Maybe it's your own baggage. Usually it's your own baggage, that you're projecting on the other person. But maybe it is something that's genuinely worthy of a discussion. Maybe it doesn't have to be a fight, but you got to feel safe. So you get this safety going. Because when you're hurt, when you have discord, you don't feel safe. You feel attacked. Unfairly attacked, probably. So you go to this safe place. You hold hands until you have allowed the steam and energy to just dissipate into, I want you to feel safe. I want to feel safe. We're going to work this out. So you'll find in finding this, in getting good at this practice, which becomes a great relief. You know what to do. Instead of just suffering and being angry for days or whatever it might be, or hurt for days, find the safe place. Then from that safe place, you decide, after you feel safe, what are we going to do about this? And in safety, you may decide, well, gee, the most important thing is we're together. So maybe you go for a walk, maybe you take a weekend together and just feel safe for the weekend. This is too big and we hurt one another too much because we got a disagreement here. Let's feel safe this weekend and just get back to who we are. And we're going to deal with this. Now, if it's an emergency you have to deal with, you still got to feel safe. So you say, you and I disagree about this. What should we do together about this as a temporary solution? But you go back to a place which is not painful and which is not agitated, but just harmonious. And as a result of getting good at this, you generally don't have to have arguments. You can have discussions. But if you have arguments, you'll discover, I'm arguing. Either party has a right to grasp the wrists of the other person. And because of love, you go safe. And you can still work out the issues, but most important issue is feeling safe in your own home with your own beloved. So you feel safe. And very often the problems seem really small anyway. So in this safe place that I highly recommend, because I found it very helpful, although We did divorce many years ago, but we both felt safe. We practiced this whenever things got impossible, whenever things got strange. Either one of us, could be any party initiating, feel safe. And then there was this healing process that began to occur once we felt this harmony and safety. And very often, beautiful things happen. You get a chance to really feel the two of us are together. We don't feel like we're together right now, but we're together. And so as to what you do to feel this harmony again, first you got to feel safe. Chances are, if you don't feel safe and accepted by the other person, because they don't like what you're saying and thinking, so they reject you. So you feel rejected. You get the safe thing going, feel safe, then you begin to have the emotions and the consciousness flow and interplay again. So it's very, very nice. So as to what you do to get over it, I'd say first go to this safe place, and the two of you together can figure out what to do then. How do we get together? How do we help one another feel comfortable again? And very often it's just spend time together away from the pressures, like a weekend together or an evening together, or just letting safety rule in the house a little while instead of animosity and coldness or frustration. You just give the higher power a chance to come in again. And it does. So I hope that's helpful. It was very helpful to me. Okay. Do you have suggestions for couples to reestablish trust and a sense of security after discord? So I say, and I've known it to work, it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. What Sister Margarita shared many years ago in the early 70s. If neti, that's a practice of not this, not this, not this, comes up during the shredding practice, is that okay? Yes, they're very kindred. Can one picture a clear blue sky while shedding, or should we shed everything? Maybe early on you can picture a clear blue sky, but let it go. It's an image that's helpful, but don't let it keep you from experiencing the real clear sky, which is probably going to be white. Not necessarily, but probably it's going to be soft white light. Is neti suitable as a shredding practice? If not, why? It's suitable. Would non-bias capture the concept of detachment? No, non-bias is good. Non-bias would be part of detachment, not being biased toward others. But detachment is not feeling that you want or yearn for or are trying to hold on to the world in any way. Bias is being neutral to a particular problem or person or situation. Detachment is not craving the world, being open to God's play instead of the way you want it to be. Okay? Is there God? Well, I didn't know. That's why I took up yoga. You have to find out for yourself, but I can assure you there is. But I don't want you to just be assured of this. I want you to find out for yourself, because you have to experience God. A lot of people just want a theory of God that they believe in, or someone who believes in God so they can believe in it too. You got to believe directly in God through experiencing God. Can you talk a little about your childhood, early experiences? No, I can't talk a little. I spent my early life yearning for God. Had many wonderful experiences down the road. Do you suppose that God's consciousness has evolved through the growth of her creation? Well, that's something that Ramakrishna said. On the one part, Brahman, there is pure absolute spirit always. But as far as the aspect that manifests nature, that is growing and developing all the time. So the Shakti part is growing and developing, and that's part of God. But the infinite spirit is always this same wondrous essence. So the answer would be yes and no, or both. is shedding thoughts similar to the neti-neti technique. A lot of neti-neti. Yes. Fit for all purposes, the mind becomes much more fit as a result of these practices you're doing to work better in every phase of your life. It'll work better at business. It'll work better at solving problems, work better at enjoying yourself on vacation and during the day at home. Fit for all purposes. The serenity that comes and the balance and learning how to balance things. It's interesting. Ramakrishna, he had these devotees. They're busy in the world and society and culture. So what he did to have them balance, he had them chant and dance. Sometimes for hours in the evening, they just chant and dance. That was a way of balancing them from all the worldly stuff they were into. So they had this beautiful balance. And some of those famous devotees of his became great saints, like Swami Vivekananda and, so many, Paramananda, and just on and on, all these great people. So there was balance there. For them, in their worldliness, you need to sing and dance, thinking about God. And they became transformed through this beautiful balance. Another thing, Yogananda. For his monks, he thought they were getting too spiritual and too out of balance. So he focused on having them do work in the earth on a regular basis. Dig in the dirt, make a swimming pool, plant gardens, push a wheelbarrow. He had them working in the earth as a way of balancing, because it's very helpful to balance your nervous system by working in the dirt. So, it's a fascinating issue. So the question for you to think about is, what balances you? You know, as you live your life, do you get out of balance? In what way do you get out of balance? Too much work? Or too much absent-mindedness? Or too much sorrow? Or too many details, not getting to the good stuff? Whatever. The thing for you to ponder is, as I live my life, what is the best thing I can do to balance? And that's a very important thing to know. What can you do to find easily balance and harmony? So ponder it for a minute. You probably already know what makes you feel really good in terms of balancing. It's fascinating. For some people, like doctors, surgeons, they very often keep their fingers in shape by knitting or doing needlepoint. It's relaxing as can be, and it also gets their finesse, their finger finesse. It keeps it stable and maybe even improves it. So, and Rosie Greer, the football player, he loved to do needlepoint. So there are fascinating ways people just sit and do something that brings them calmness and balance in their hectic life. Would you care to share something you find is a really beautiful balancer for you? Taking a walk is great. Go to the gym. Great. Yes, please. Relax in the backyard and listen. Wonderful. Appreciating God's beauty. That's wonderful. Praying and being grateful. Wonderful. Yeah, being grateful is often a way out of a lot of neuroses and strife. Being grateful, one of the best things around. So those are good. Anybody else got another one? Chinese breathing practices. Thank you. Playing, having fun with people. Well, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So it's important for you to enjoy life, and it's important in order to do that, to find a way to create balance. When you get more balanced, your sadhana's better, your life's better. You have greater enjoyment of life. You begin to sense the unfolding harmony in your life. Good. Okay. So now a side point as we try to clear up details. Well, what's this about spirit and nature? Isn't it all spirit? Shouldn't we just focus on spirit? Yes, but you're an expression of nature, too. Spirit decided to express nature. And part of your component is spirit in form, or nature. So it's important for you to accept yourself and your life and balance from there. You try to say it's all spirit, and you ignore your body or your mind, your emotions and your feelings, And if you ignore your need for mental stimulation, if you just focus entirely on spirit, probably you're not going to have realization because you're too imbalanced. Balance is very often the key to success in life and in yoga. So while it's true that it is all spirit, because you're in form and because spirit has taken the trouble to form you, it's important to deal with your situation, which is you are both spirit and spirit in form. So the spirit in form part of you needs some attention, especially at the physical, mental, and emotional levels. So that's my answer to that question in case you were wondering. Oh, and also, people who do extreme ascetic practices just go entirely focused on spirit. Very often, their body doesn't work well enough for them to have realization or to live in it. They're not healthy enough to have such high energy plays going on in their body. Okay, now, main point today. What happens when you find serenity? I'm moving on. That was a side point, a clarification. What happens when you find serenity in spirit? And you find it in a profound way. In very rare cases, if you've done your homework and you've fulfilled your life lessons, in very rare cases, like 0.001 or so, you may just leave the body. You may just go into samadhi and stay in it for 28 days or so and leave the body. I've never heard of anybody in my lifetime doing this. But in Ramakrishna's lifetime, 2 or 3 people did. They just got high and they had fulfilled all their duties and dharmas on the planet. They left the body. So it does happen, but extremely rarely. Usually what happens when you find this serenity and you abide in the soul, you find spirit now wants to express through you. Since you found spirit, it wants to live in you and express through you, like we talked about last night. And that's true in 99.999% of people that I know of. So when you find this serenity, when you find spirit, you discover something pretty nice. That you just don't sit there like a blob all day. That spirit leads to a dynamic state. Spirit wants to express through you. You start moving around and doing things, usually helping people, usually expressing God's work in one way or another. So serenity sounds like it's an extremely still, wonderful place. It is. But when you find it, usually you start moving and doing things. You start doing spiritual things to help the planet, to uplift humanity, to help create balance where there's great imbalance. So remember, serenity becomes a dynamic state. It's not just feeling groovy and not needing to do anything. It's entirely different from that. It seems that way at first, and it's important you allow serenity to get established, to abide in you. But then comes a time, Spirit wants to express itself through you in your uniqueness, in you and your unique talents and abilities and experience, background. Spirit wants to express. So that's the main point for today. Realize that this settled state becomes serenity, and there's a still time. For example, when a woman is near time to deliver a child, then she has very little duty. She just takes it easy. So as you get more and more pregnant, there comes a time for considerable stillness just before the birth. And it is that Shakti, that energy of spirit, which we call Divine Mother or Kali or Durga, that aspect of spirit that is Shakti, that wants to move through you. We call it in the West very often the Holy Spirit. That's why Kali is pictured with her legs in motion, with one foot in front of the other. Spirit in motion, spirit moving and expressing, helping people with their evolution. That's a symbolism of the yoga understanding of Kali. Okay. So, spirit moves, creates, preserves, and transforms. So those are the main three areas of Shakti movement: creating, preserving, and transforming. Okay. Now, don't confuse meditating and getting mellow with being serene. When you meditate very often, you feel very mellow. That's wonderful. But you can feel mellow without your mind fully settling in the soul. So, mellow is good. It shows you're getting there. But serene is where you want to go. You want the mind to be so settled it doesn't stray off. And you want the mind to be so settled that ultimately it reveals your soul to you. The bliss and joy and wisdom and delight and light of the soul. If you meditate and get mellow, that's good. But that's not the main point. The beautiful thing about getting mellow is it leads you towards serenity. And in serenity, you enter into this marvelous spiritual life. Beautiful spiritual energy that can move and express through you. The spirit can be dynamic and flood through you. But what you get then, which you usually ignore, you go for feeling groovy or feeling serene, you don't realize the main thing you get is balance. You now have the ability to sense balance, and see imbalance. So you now know what is balanced in your life and in you and in your world, and what is not balanced. The main thing to take out of that would not be feeling groovy, although that's great. It's you find a way by going this deep to bring things into balance. You become empowered when you go deep like this to see what's out of balance and help bring it into balance. And that's your job. If you choose to accept this assignment, your job is to come out of there balancing things, not just feeling groovy. A lot of people think meditation is to make me feel groovy. It is, in part. But it's to help you balance or create harmony. And that's something very important for you to take from this retreat. That since you get this insight into harmony and how to bring it about, there's a lot of power there. When you're in a state of harmony, you're tuning in with the infinite spirit. If you're in a state of harmony, you're doing a very yogic thing. The infinite spirit's ready and available to move in you, to express through you, and to bring about beautiful changes. Don't just go for the feeling. Let the sense of harmony come out of you. Let the sense of harmony come forth into your life. Find out various ways you can create greater harmony. And you'll find as a yogi, you're connected with the infinite. It'll come through you. You'll be able, in time and time again, to see what's out of harmony, what needs balancing, and because you're a yogi, you'll be able to balance it. And that's your assignment. My job, as I go forth in life, is to create harmony and balance wherever I go, whether it's creating something or preserving something or transforming something. From this position of balance, my job's to go out there and balance things. Your job's to go out there and balance things. Make people feel better when they're feeling bad. Help, help people get what they want and need from life. Help yourself live a beautiful existence instead of a tortured one. Basically it. You go to a place that's dynamic and it wants to establish harmony through you. It's a main point this morning. You've been endowed with wisdom and perspective to sense what the harmony would be. You can also intuit harmony. You can also intuit how to balance this particular thing. Now, you might fail at some of these things because the world's not perfect. People are confused. You'll be spiritually empowered. Spirit will give you power, energy, and consciousness to help create more balance. You come out of your meditations an instrument of Brahma Shakti, able to feel Brahma Shakti, Shakti, Brahma. For example, let's say you have serenity. Well, you probably didn't need to go into deep meditation to see this, but for example, let's say you're a smoker. You go into deep meditation, you'll find this inner power. You come out and say, I clearly see I'm killing myself by smoking. I'm killing myself. So you'll get the power to let go of smoking. A lot of people come to the yoga center, they've been able to just let go of smoking. There's an inner power within you to change things, and you find it by doing these practices of balance. Or, I clearly see I'm not eating right. Very often, a look in the mirror does the job, but the power to change it is inside you. Or, I clearly see I'm throwing my precious life away by wasting time. Or, I clearly see my loud mouth and emotional fits are ruining my relationships. Or, I'm misusing my mental nature. Or, I'm misusing my emotional nature. Or, I'm killing the planet because I'm a bad steward of material things, of earth, sea, air, on and on. In connection with spirit, you always see what you can do to initiate, to start a return to balance. And that's what we're going to have fun doing today. We're just going to look at our lives from a viewpoint of harmony and say, in my life, looking at the whole big, beautiful life, what am I going to do by tuning in with spirit to bring about balance in any area you think about? It's going to be just beautiful day to have a fresh, new, improved life. From this deep place, you sense how you can initiate change by bringing about balance, and balance allows the inner spirit to come through. Okay. Spirit empowers you. It's powerful. If you stay in it, don't just go for the good feeling, but let this energy happen. Spirit empowers you to make that impetus to start a process of balance. Usually you feel it best when you come out of a deep meditation. So those meditations each day, like morning and evening, you meditate. Coming out of those, you really sense balance and the power to balance things. So every day you got these options to bring about beautiful change. So I'd like you to spend the morning, have fun. What I'd like you to do mainly this morning then is make a list. What in your life is not balanced? In every area. What in my life is not balanced? What is not harmonious? What yet remains to be balanced? And you just make the list down the page, not just across the page, down the page, so we can have a solution next to the item you put down. So just make a list down your page. What yet remains to be balanced and abide in harmony. Then, sit calmly, get settled. Let your mind be clear like the sky. Then come forth from this clear place and consider, what balancing thrust can I make here? What can I do toward balancing this? How will I balance this? And if you find a way to balance it, very often it's very clear what you can do in your thoughts and your feelings, but also it's clear Spirit's going to help you make that balance. So that's the exercise for today. Make a list of what remains to be balanced in your life. Just imagine, you can really make big changes today. What in my life remains to be balanced? The way I handle time, the way I handle my emotions, the way I'm experiencing life, the way I worry, whatever it might be. Make the list. What remains to be balanced? Get calm and serene. Come out of that serenity as best you can and says, okay, how do I start balancing this? Let your inner self, with common sense, you could probably figure out a lot of them. But the main thing is, very often, common sense, we don't have the power to change it. You get serene, you get the power to change it. You get this inner drive, this inner life from God, from Spirit, to help. So, when you come forth, then you can probably, in a state of harmony, sense how Spirit is going to help you to balance this. And just write down what you would do to start this balancing to happen. What is the initiation that you can make? How can you initiate a change through balance? So that's the project. The only thing else I wanted to mention, I'll mention right now. I'll mention that serenity also leads to skill in action. From this serenity, you're better at moving about on the planet. One of the main definitions of yoga is skill in action. If you're klutzy in action, you're spaced out, friend. If you're klutzy, you're not doing yoga. You're spaced out. So allow skill in action to come out of this serenity. Again and again, by doing yoga postures and meditation and tuning in, just the way we've been doing, you'll find ways to create skill in action. Also, chanting Brahma Shakti helps you to sense how to do skill in action. How to initiate harmony and balance wherever you need it. You very often find it involves preserving or creating or transforming. And in your daily life, make a stand for balance. Just think, I'm here to balance things, create harmony for the most part. And you'll again and again have a clue about how to make it happen. So the goal is, enrich your life immeasurably this morning. What remains to be balanced, make a list, get serene, or clear, or a little bit clear, and strive to sense this inner spiritual energy and consciousness as best you can through meditation. Come out, you'll probably know what to do to initiate balance in each of those, and keep it in mind, live with this attitude of balance. You'll find beautiful things happening in your life starting now. Doing this important thing. What yet in my life remains to be balanced. And take advantage of the time and go for it. Okay? So, my friends, God bless you.